Pasha Paro, Y7. Thank you for tuning. The replay. Big boy P.E.P for my peeps. All right. I was in my book for y'all today. Right? I was in my book for y'all today. So today I want to go over with y'all. Like I said, we're going to talk about exit strategy, and to get a better understanding of that, I think we need to know something about what the definition of certain trading styles is, you know, because that's like a tool. A technique is like a tool itself. You know what I mean? And I look at it as just using a different tool, a different technique, right? So this channel wrapped around etymology, so I figure we mix some in today. If we look at this, right, this is the etymology of the word strategy. So if you're talking about exit strategy, because it's easy to get into a stock, but the key is having a plan on what your exit is. You know what I'm saying? So that way you know what you're doing. And I keep stressing that because eventually this channel it's gonna reach millions of people, and everybody's got a different personality, a different style, a different goal. Some people are just having fun, right? So there is no one shoe fits all, one size fit all. You know what I'm saying? That's not how this works. It's very personal to what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to do, as if you're making the right move for yourself or not. You know what I mean? And the more I've been talking to people in person, online, watching, learning, observing, the more I realize that what would help even me. That's why I'm studying this stuff. Like I know what I know, but I always want to learn more myself. So strategy. What's your strategy? I talk about knowing when to get in, and then based on when you get in and your goal, you need to know what your strategy is to exit, your exit strategy. So what the strategy is 1810. It was the art of planning military operations. Right? And I know you're like, what? So, but you're executing a maneuver. You see what I'm saying? Like if you look further into the definition, it says office or command of a general, right? So when you put in a trade, look, watch this. When you put in a trade, do you think it's coincidence that they call it an order? Command, office or command of a general. You see what I'm saying? When you put in a trade, they call it an order. Art of planning military operations. What's your army in this case? Right? You got an army of funds. And you're technically invading a business. And if your army is big enough, if you got enough funds, then you invade it to the point where you become the primary stockholder. And if you're the primary stockholder, I guess that gives you some more weight in the decisions in a lot of cases, as if you're the office or command of a general. You put in the orders. See, when you look at the music and stuff, my artist name is Pasha Paro. And Pasha actually translates from a very high-ranking general in the Ottoman Empire. And And then Paro means great house. It's P-A-R-O-H. So that's great house. And that comes from Paro Naquota Wuded, which means great house, distinguished, restorer. It's part of why I'm investing into the great house of America, this free entertainment that you are subscribed to, liking, sharing, and commenting on. Appreciate it. So, like I said, this is how I give back. So, or it's one of the ways I give back. Now, if you think about that, you have to. I don't know if that changes things for you. Like if you play chess, you know what I mean? Like you have to look at these moves as chess moves. You know, like we're talking about exit strategy. We're talking about getting in position in your life for whatever you're trying to do next, for whatever that next level is, for whatever that end destination is, whatever your goal is that you're making these, that you're utilizing your army for, is what you're trying to accomplish. So look at the exit strategy, right? Art of planning military operations, office or command of a general, right? And then this says from strategos, if I pronounce that right or not. That part I don't be knowing that shit. Excuse me. I see the letters and the little accents and special character. I don't know how to say all of them. So, but it's right there, STRATE with the little line, GO with the accent mark S. But it says Stratos is army and Aegos is leader, from Aegean or Aegean, which is to lead. So you're the leader of your army. So when you go into the market, you got to look at it as you're going to battle. Like this is not a game. And that's why I guess I don't have the same view of like the GameStop or certain situations, like, you know what I mean? But that's my personal view on it. It's just not I don't know, I almost don't like anything just handed to me. Like people try to give me stuff all the time and I just pay them for it. I like to keep things balanced, and because everything is a give and take, right? So if you're in imbalance, then what's gonna happen? Eventually, there will be harmony. So I don't know. Maybe that's just some nature shit. But look, right? So strategy, you put in orders, because it's coming from office or command of a general. You in your HQ, whether that's your cell phone, tick, 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 tick on a cell phone, putting in the orders, or you on your laptop, your desktop, you know what I mean? Wherever you at, you are the general. You're putting in the order. And if you're putting in orders, it needs to be a strategy. Art of planning military operations. All right. So, here's the different types of trading. And I'm not really concerned about the percentages part. I don't know if that's true or not. But what I do know is that these exist. Like, this is what they call them. And this, on the right hand side, kind of makes sense as to what you're actually doing and why they're calling it that. And then down the bottom is very accurate. Never invest or trade without knowing your exit strategy. Because like I said, it's easy to get in, but when do you get out? All right. Do you get out while you're up? Do you get out after you start to lose some profit? That's up to you. It depends on what you're doing. Does it even matter if you're in it for 10 years? Does it matter if you're going up and down? No. You see what I'm saying? So scalping is when you hit a stock for seconds to minutes. You just bam, bam. And usually that's going to involve like, well, I can't say usually because it depends on what you're working with, but let's say the more leverage you have, the more beneficial that is. And that's why I'm like saying don't worry about the percentages, because 0.1% to 0.5% gold per trade. What? So if your goal's $500, what 1% would be 5. So you're saying you're supposed to look to get 50 cent a trade? Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, you're supposed to make 50 cent off a trade? Like, I don't know. But don't worry about the percentages, but just worry about the action. And the reason I say that is because if you get caught on the percentages, then you're trapping yourself in a box that maybe not beneficial or even matter to you. Because shit, if you scout and you're only in seconds to minutes, you could make $5, you could make $500, you could actually see 5,000 depending on how many shares you got and how many cents it moves in your favor. So in theory, you could wake up every day, turn your computer on, and make $1,000 in 5 minutes and go live your life. Like, this is where I want to see us all get to one day. And talking about exit strategies, like for me, this one I'm like 27. I'm not. When you look at the grand scheme of things, like when we focus on it right now, it's like, that's why I said we talked about yesterday. If you go check out yesterday's video, we talked about don't be focused on winning, focus on being able to play forever. All right. And what I mean by that is in that video in detail, but what I'm getting at is, okay, if you look at it like, I don't know how old you guys are, right? What's your age, rather? If you're working for a company or you're working for yourself, that, you know, if you're looking forward to retirement, or if you already got it made and you just living your life and this is all just furnishing your fantasy, that's great. Everybody's in different positions. But let's say you're 35 years old and that means you got like at least 30 years to retire if you're looking for the regular normal retirement age, so to speak. So you're making your moves now. You got your whatever you're dealing with. If you lose 2 G's today, you got 30 years in reality. I mean, worst case scenario, to like make that shit back up. You know what I mean? Like, so in the grand scheme of things, you learn from that and you move on and you develop a better strategy. It strengthens your office of command. It gives you a sharper art of planning your military operations. And then over the next 30 years, you know, you should have a more refined process. So in reality, who the fuck cares about 2 G's today? You know what I'm saying? I've seen people spend 2 G's at the bar in a night. So now, I ain't that thirsty. But, you know, doing some of the events that I've been to because of, you know, who I was at the time, you know, I've been places where we've been eating $5,000 cake. Like, so cake was $5,000. I mean, we ain't even talk about everything else. Just to rent a booth on a regular night was $700 and you ain't even got food or drink yet. So, you know, anyway, the point of the matter is learn from today so that you can play forever. All right. Now, day trading is considered minutes to hours. All right. Now, of course, for all this, talk to your local tax professional. I'm not involved in any of that advice. This is not advice. This is just entertainment. I'm not an expert. I'm just an American with a dream. Living the dream. So, sharing the moment. All right, so look, right? Day trading is for minutes to hours. Okay? Swing trading, when you hear people talking about swing trading, they're talking about days to weeks. And then investing is months to years. So when we were talking about like getting out and then letting it hit the bottom and then getting back in, catching a rise, and then, see what happens. Maybe you get out again. That's this area up here, right? Because you may catch it. It could be, 180 seconds. It might go up 50 cents. You got 1,000 shares. That's $500. Your day is done. Let's go eat. You see what I'm saying? You out in 3 minutes, 4 minutes. So seconds to minutes, you could make hundreds and thousands of dollars a day. Now, don't feel any pressure, because where we're at today, yeah, you might have your pot might be this big, but that don't mean you go throwing the large chunks on everything. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe you start off small, just like I said, boom, 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 boom. $100 to $500 a day. So when I was talking about goals yesterday, like my goal right now is $100 to $500 a day. Because I want to pace myself to gain the skill, to gain even more skill. And then by the time you reach the 250,000 mark or that 500,000 mark, the skill you gathered trying to get there, because the word art, I ain't going to give you the whole thing. We'll go over that another time. But the word art has parts of it like trickery and magic, but it's also related to skill. You see what I'm saying? So when you develop that skill, when you refine your art, your craft, now you're turning this into a craft. You see what I'm saying? So I think when you have a craft, you use different tools. And some of your tools, aside from research of the company and stuff like that, is how you actually execute the trade, the orders you put in, how you plan, what's your art of planning military operations. Now, some of that may involve scalping. Sometimes you may need to day trade. Sometimes you may need to swing trade. Sometimes you're looking to invest in the background with certain things for long-term stability. So how you choose to use these tools in combination with your other tools is all part of your order. So an order to say, hey, go in there and go to battle is an incomplete order. Because then when do you know you've accomplished your mission? When nobody's left? What if that wasn't the goal? What if the goal was to capture the flag? What if the goal was to do recon? You see what I'm saying? Like sometimes you go and you want to get the bag. So, okay, we're going in like this. We're going to execute this order. This is the plan. We're coming in here. We're going to let it do this. We're waiting for this moment. All right. Okay, it broke past there. All right, we're out. You see what I'm saying? Because you had a plan. Maybe you're doing recon. For me, that's when I just be like, okay, you know what? I think it's going to be all right. I'm not sure. Let me put 100 shares in, something light. 50 shares, whatever it is, you put that in light. I'm doing recon because I just kind of want to get a feel for what the stock's doing, not really have too much risk. 100 shares, 200 shares, 300 shares, something like that, 400 shares. You might just be doing recon. You see what I'm saying? So your strategy is what really makes or breaks everything. So I want us all to work on not just saying we're in this stock. Let's not just see a YouTube video. Like, don't come to the video. I know a lot of you guys are watching my videos because you're already in the stock. Maybe that I'm talking to, that's great. But what I'm getting at is let's get out of the mindset of finding a stock and just jumping in it. Because we we hear good things about it. We've done some research. We know whatever it is we learn, and we just hop in. Excuse me. Before we hop in, let's take the extra 5-10 minutes, an hour a day to develop a realistic plan. And I think that's how we really protect ourselves. You see what I'm saying? Because like I'm okay with, so that one day, that was like probably my roughest day, at 2,700 down. And I'm like, I'm okay with it, because when you divide that by 13 stocks, we're talking $207 per stock, right? And if most of those had 1,000 or 500 shares, let's say divide that by 750, I'm really looking at an average stock drop price of 27 cents. So that means my average stock that I was holding that day went down 27 cents, which is nothing when you think about the movement of stock. So when you see 2,700 though, it's like, oh my God, if you don't know what you're looking at, or why you're looking at that, or why it looks like that, because you don't have a strategy, or you don't know what your strategy is, or you don't know what that strategy is entail. Maybe you're looking at what somebody else is doing and you're seeing it, but you don't know what made it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that represents 27 cent move in stocks to me. So I'm like, damn, that's kind of crazy day, but all right, cool. We're going to get it back. Why? Because I know my strategy, and you see, I pull the plug at certain times, because I know what my goal is, which is part of my strategy. I know when I should exit. Sometimes I exit early and take extra change, and it might go up a little more and then come down, whatever it is, but that's my strategy. You got to have your strategy. So that's why I want everybody to work on the month of March. Let's do that. Let's work on our strategy. When we see a hot stock, let's develop our strategy. Like, for everybody watching, I want to see you each have your own strategy. There's no right or wrong answer. Remember, this is all infinity. There's an infinite amount of things that could happen. But if you have a strategy, you kind of can narrow it down. So in your arsenal, you're going to have scalping. You're going to have day trading. You're going to have swing trading. And you're going to have investing. And combine that with everything else you use, like research, all the tools you use to pick and choose and analyze your stocks. So if we take this into the real world, you can see, like, something that we talked about yesterday with SINT. I said, hey, look, it wants to go back to this area. I mean, for me, let me tell you what it is for me. All right. And this is part of why, like, I'm really okay with taking my time, because I'm perfecting this. Like, I ain't making this stuff up. Go back and watch yesterday's video. None of this activity was here. I said it wants to get back here. Okay. Now, once I get to the position in life where I can sit down and do this full time every day, guess what? I'm going to be sitting right here when it goes from here to here. Almost hit $3 in the pre-market. Almost hit $3 in midday. And then came back down to 241 and still finished the day up after all that, up 14 cents. Like, on a day that I was day trading, I would have made a killing off of this one stock. So I'm not really concerned in the long term. I just got to get over this little busy period so I can come back in here and chop. And meanwhile, because I'm in for me personally, because I'm in this busy period, which might just be a couple more months, I get to develop new techniques and new strategies. See, I get to develop new tools. Because what happens if that gives me more of a bigger arsenal in the future. You see what I'm saying? It prepares me for more opportunity in the future. So I take every moment to learn from. Like, I don't ever become complacent. So when you see me saying, damn, I lost a couple dollars a day, it's because that's the cost of learning. If I went to school for this, you'd be paying $10, $15, $20,000. Maybe a year, maybe a semester, right? So to be doing this on your own with your own cash and your own free time, and you're making green, you're staying green, and you have a couple red days, and you pay a little bit into your own development, you're investing in yourself. The time, energy, effort you put into this is your investment. Not just your funds, that's all part of your army. All of that goes into your order. Okay? So, anyway, going back to this. So I said it was going to go back to this area, or at least it wanted to. Okay? Because nothing's guaranteed, nothing's promised. The only thing's promised is right now. So, it went back to the area in the pre-market. It dropped. And it came back to that area later in the day. And it dropped. But it's still up 14 cents over the close yesterday. Excuse me. And if we look here, we're keeping a nice angle back up. So I'm kind of really liking what I see with Syntex right now, SINT. And we already know what the company's going to do. Let me drag this out so I can see my continue. See, we're still in the green area. And just like I said, look, it went in, it got to the yellow. I said, this is when you want to lock in your profits when it gets into here, because it starts to get a little flaky. And that's what it did. Got above it and said, whoop, came right back down. Worked its way back up, got above it, said, whoop, come right back down. So for me, like I said, if I was day trading this or swing trading even, this would have been a nice gain. It have came down. Maybe you sell somewhere on this top drop. You see it's coming back down. You know you're in your yellow area. Let it find the bottom in the green area. Come back up. Again, this is not what I'm telling you to do. I'm just telling you what I see. Okay? You find the bottom. You catch it coming back up. And this was a really sharp jump. So you might not have, if you didn't get in like right here, you might have missed this, because each one of these candlesticks represent 3 minutes. So you had a boop, 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 boop. So if you didn't know to get in here and catch this, you might have missed this nice jump. So even this right here, right, was from 242, 266. It's like 24 cents. 1,000 shares, that's $250 right there in 3 minutes. If you caught the beginning of this and the end, you could have made over $200 in 3 minutes. Right? You see what I'm saying? So anyway, so my shit is this, right? Here's what I want y'all to understand. And let's start with the people that have a regular 401k. The first exit, let's go back to what the strategy is. Exit strategy. Right? The first exit strategy I would execute, or I would order, is how to exit the traditional mutual funds. That's exit strategy number one, because right now, if you're all your life savings is in a regular 401k stuck in a mutual fund, and the market is collapsing, your whole pocket is affected by that in some way, shape, or form. So the first thing I would do in the story, the first exit strategy would be to exit the mutual funds, because like I said, in recent times, I'm gonna try to get away from like I said. Give me another word. I need another word to say. So like I said. Anyway, look. So once you get out of mutual funds, you have the ability. You have more protection, because you can always just be out of the market, sitting in the account without being in the stock. So that's exit strategy number one. If you're in, like, for you to consider for entertainment purposes, if you're in a 401k, I would see what your employer or your whatever you got going on offers as a self-direct option where you can have control over it. That would be exit strategy number one, exiting the mutual fund. Because if you do this right, the mutual fund might go up 18%. You might feel like that's a great year, but if you self-direct, you might be up 300%, 400%. You could be catalytic, not just in a defensive position in case the market collapse, but you serve as a catalyst once you know what you're doing and get your movement right. Start making the right orders, General. So then once you get there, I would say you building up your account, because maybe your next exit strategy is to exit, like we talked about, your business that's tying you up all day long every day, or your job or whatever that you just dealing with the you might like what you do, and just some of the people just be like the reason why you would just leave tomorrow. You know what I mean? And that's why your goal shouldn't be, I ain't gonna tell you what your goal shouldn't be, but if you go to another job, you think it's gonna really be different? How many times you do that in life? Go start another job, it feels different, and then 6 months, a year later, you're like, this is the same stuff. Right. So the only way the only thing that's gonna really satisfy you is you. Right? So now maybe your next exit strategy is exiting that situation. And like I said, then you get to the point, and here you go. Then you get to the point where now you're doing this full time. This is what you do. You get up, you make $2,000 in 20 minutes, and you go live your life. But by then you done built up even more of your bank. That's how come if you're playing this out right, you done developed the skills over time, you done grew your account, and now you have a much larger pot. So think about it. That means that at that point in time in the future, when you used to be putting down 1,000 stocks or 1,000 shares, now you'll be just as comfortable putting down 5,000 shares. You see what I'm saying? At that same moment. So you see what I'm getting at? So you're gonna be able to grow so much faster, so much harder. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be so much easier for you to traverse that ground, right? It's gonna be an amazing time. So that's why I'm saying be comfortable with where you're at right now, but don't be complacent. Like, not comfortable in the sense of you want to sit still, but comfortable in the fact that you don't gotta rush, because you're not playing to win. You're playing to be able to play forever. And if you really got your alternative is 30 more years working for somebody else, then what is the real issue of actually taking 2 years and getting this shit perfected and putting yourself in a position where you can walk away from everything? You see what I'm saying? And then once you can do that shit, you might want to do pottery. You know what I mean? You might want to be an artist. Now you get up, you make $2,000 in 10 minutes, and you go paint for the rest of the day. That's the life I want for my peeps. You know what I'm saying? That's why the people that work so hard to censor me are working so hard to censor me, because they don't want to see you making $2,000 a day and painting and enjoying yourself. So be careful who you listen to. So exit strategy, inner strategy, all that's part of your order. All that's part of being a general. See what I mean? So this is a great example. We went over this yesterday, said it's going to go here. We have multiple opportunities to make cake, and even if you left it in all day, you're still up 14 cents, which with 1,000 shares, you only put into 20, if you got in yesterday, you only put in about 2,300, depending on what time you got in, maybe even $2,000. And that brought back, even if you didn't take advantage of any of these ups and downs and just caught the 14 cent, you're up $140. That's almost 10%. That's between 5 and 10%. So if we were to even just look at what their percentages are, remember I said don't worry about that, because it could be anything. But Swing trading is days to weeks, and they're looking to 1 to 10% per goal per trade. So I mean, if your goal was $1,000, then $140 is more than 10%. So you're really into investing numbers off of what would be, you're talking a day trade to a swing trade. You see what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Don't worry about the percentages, but more so worry about these actions here and learn what they do and learn what the, and talk to your tax people as to how that affects you if you execute, particular orders based off your status. You know what I'm saying? So now, all right. Should we look at another stock real quick? Oh, you know who else did good? CGIX. Let's look at that. Hold on. CGIX finished up 44 cents, right? Another example, another good example. I said, look, it wants to get back to here. Now, of course, I just drew this circle at the end of yesterday, but if we were to draw a line over from here to here, it made it right back to where I said it would go. I know this is like a little bubble. It's about a 50-cent mark, but when you're talking about, all the places it could have ended up in life, you know what I mean? When it was at 550, for me to say it was going to touch almost $7, and it we're talking 688. I mean, that's pretty damn close. 690. That's almost the center of my little bubble there. It's definitely in the bubble. So if I was day trading this today and I got in at the bottom down here because I see that it established a resistance on the way down, I'm looking to ride this back towards this area here. And by all means, if you had enough patience, I mean, even if you got out early, you still went from sub 550 to 650 is a whole dollar. You still ain't at the top. Now I'm not saying I would have dropped 1,000 shares on this one because it's at just off the rip like that in a day trade when it's still in a sketchy time period, right? But maybe you grab a couple hundred or whatever it is that because like I said, this is still a sketchy period of time. Don't get it twisted. Like, I'm still looking at all this shit like the market's sketchy right now. Don't be dumping 10K into one stock, 5K in this one, 20K in that one, because 10% of that shit is a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that's why when my shit said 2,700 red, it was divided over 13 stocks. And like I said, we're talking about 27-cent average drop. So you could imagine, if you got a lot and it goes down $1, that'd have been 4 times. That'd have been 10 grand. All right, so you get what I'm saying. So anyway, you see this is a resistance. You could have caught this all the way up to where we say it went to 690. So you would have made $1.40 a share off of this play right here on a day trade, because the exit strategy was, let's see where we get to here. And it could have easily went up here and you could have sold and then it dropped down a little bit and then it could have went like this, right? But the exit strategy was perfected because you made the profit and got out, in my eyes. So you have, and this is why I say it's important, because now if you don't have to spend a lot of time because you did the homework the day before. So like, I could be at work and have 2 minutes on my phone after market opening, give it 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes for the initial chaos to do what it do, and then look at the stock a little bit, and based on what my expectations are, I can make a quick decision. It may be a low risk. Like I said, maybe only a couple hundred shares, but I can make that decision and then, set a stop limit, a sell limit, something, and capture this without even have to really pay attention to it. Because once you set your limits, it's like automated. But my issue as of recently is when the broker's systems stop working properly, it's like now you don't know if that shit's even gonna work. So when you hear me say I don't have time to babysit it, it's me saying, look, I would rather trust. I have a greater sense of trust in the execution when I'm there to watch it right now. So I gotta make this extra contingency factors, and that sometimes allows me to be in a position where maybe I would lose a little more that day, or definitely make a little more that day than I would have. So it's a give and take. You know what I mean? You're perfecting your craft. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna be doing this every day, and you know you great hop on a plane and go on a 8-hour plane ride, 10-hour plane, 12, 14-hour plane ride one day, then you might not be able to execute trades while you're on there. So you might need to set this up so you can still capture what you're looking for that day to maintain your goal. I mean, you never know what life's going to bring you in the future. So all of this practice will come in handy. All of these tools will become powerful at different times as you build and execute your strategy. All right, so now let's get to some fun stuff, because I want to show you something else here. Actually, let me do this real quick, because I told you about EVol, right? I don't know if it's EVol, whatever it is, EVol, which really went nowhere today. And the cool part with this is the average volume is like 250,000, and the volume today was 60,000. And the fact that the volume is so low is part of why I like it, because it's holding and it's doing its little fluctuations with. So once it gets eyes on it and it explodes, like, it's going to explode. And as you can see, it fell out that day when I said, okay, it's out of the channel, we're gonna wait and see. Well, I be cutting shit off quick, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's funny to me, like, when people, and it's nothing to talk about, it's just like, okay, clip, snip, bye. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you don't argue with a fool. You see what I'm saying? Don't argue with a fool, because then that makes you a fool too. So when someone puts you in a situation and they want you to, like, combat them, or, you know, that's their ego. They probably got a strategy that they want to try and drop on you to make, you know, themselves feel good. Just don't even. Why would you even say anything to them? I just look at them and be like, and then it makes me question the people that, you know, think they're cool, because if you think this deceit is cool and being foolish is cool, then, or whatever it is, then what does that say about you? So I just be like, man, all right, let me get out of here, right? So look, right, this is back in the channel. It's going back in the direction we wanted to go. So what I want to do is I want to express to you, of course, you know, Vion is what I like too. It was down 2 cents a day. I mean, 2 cents. That's why, like I said, this stock here, it's a slow mover. So even it, you know, 2 cents in a day, it came out, we got rid of it because it was like, we got to see what it's gonna do. And because that's the strategy. I mean, you know, I can't help it. The hardest part of having any wisdom is constantly remaining disciplined to the knowledge. So it dipped out to the point where I was like, what are you doing? All right, let's wait and see what you're going to do. Now, it's still in the channels, but this is where I wanted to, you know, and this is where it gets a little sketchy. Okay, so now it wants to put some work in and get back to, here's the 24th. So here's the 25th. Here's where it changed right here, right? So it came out, but it got back in. So we're going to hold on to it, you know, see what it do. Because it does this nice little pattern. So if it maintains this pattern and stays in the channel, from here, it should be going back this direction up. I just want to make sure it didn't go right. So we're headed in the right direction. Tomorrow, if it keeps going up, probably even if it stays above this green line, I'll give it some life. This purple line is the other channel, the wider channel. We're still in the game. Oh shit. All right, put that back. All right, so anyway, Vion is the massive conglomerate that's gonna be like everything from PayPal to cell phone use to everything in between. Cash App, all that good stuff is gonna basically be what they doing from Russia to Africa, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all the stand countries. Like that's great pop, you know what I mean, with their 4G situation. So 4G to them is the new 5G, and then Evolve is gonna be handling all the SIMs, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. I want to show you the strategy of why this is so exciting for the future. Okay. So, and then we'll get out of here. Now, 7 billion people, 7 billion eSIMs to be activated by 2024. And we're right now quarter of the way through 2021, right? 7 billion of them. Now, who's going to get a large percentage of that? Again, it's not saying that EVol makes the chips. They just do everything else with them. Or I'm saying chips, but the SIMs. They just do everything else with them. So 7 billion eSIMs to be active. This is not counting regular SIMs, right? For the whole 4G sector that's going to blow up in what we said in like Vion territory. That's going to be huge. I'm trying to tell you. Right now, they haven't even grown yet, and they're already the 12th largest in the world CSP. Like, so you know where they're going. They're going to the moon. All right. 7 billion eSIMs to be activated by 2024. Right, so if you want some super long-term play, look at these situations here. And you can read this article because I want to cover some more particular details. But in the beginning, it starts off, forecast for a huge leap in the number of connected consumer and IoT, Internet of Things, devices make headlines on a regular basis. How these devices will get connected is often overlooked. That's the pickaxe. Remember, we like the pickaxes. So since 1991, we've been using physical SIM cards in our phones and connected devices. Every now and again, they get a bit smaller, but even today, we still use them. 6 billion new ones a year. Excuse me. So that means they're making 6 billion new regular SIMs cards a year. And they're going to have 7 billion eSIMs. And like we said, Evolve is the pickaxe for that, so they're going to get a surge out of this world, right? You would expect. All right, so check that out. Some detail there. Here's another article to give you some substance. So the eCard, which is Embedded SIM Market 2021 Strategic Assessment. You can check this article out for yourself. What I really want you to see here is this part here, where it defines the areas, because the first thing we normally think about is phones. I'm gonna say that, right? But look at this. You got laptops and tablets. Like we talked about, the Windows 10 has this connectivity in it. Here's a huge market that you may not be considering: wearable and companion devices. Basically anything that you connect Bluetooth, wireless, Wi-Fi, anything that connects to something. The little robot toy, little Pikachu, whatever thing that you control with your phone and it runs around, your vacuum robot that you tap and the cell phone commands it. Any of that type of stuff. Wearable and companion devices. I'm going to just put it all under that. I don't know what M2M is. Spare me. I did a lot of research, but I ain't looked that one up, okay? So if you know what that is, drop that in the comments below. I'll do some research on it later, figure out what all that is, because this alone is huge. And then what I'm really interested in is this right here, the Internet of Things. Because what is that? The Internet of Things, right, describes the network of physical objects, things, that are embedded with sensors, software, and other technologies for the purpose of connecting and exchanging data with other devices and systems over the internet. And this is why I'm telling you, as 5G becomes a thing, this evolve is ready to go crazy. And to be in now, like, I almost could just like drop all the other stocks and just like put a few more thousand shares than it is, and just have like a very small percentage, and just leave my rest of my stuff in cash, and just know that in a couple years or so, like, you could probably walk away from your job with just this one stock if you did it right. But what I'm getting at is, and then Vion take off too at the same time, that would be huge. Now, I'm not promising you anything. This is solely entertainment purposes. Look at that. What was that? That was, yeah, look at the chips. See what I'm saying? An embedded system is, anyway, look, let's see what it say. Things have evolved due to the convergence of multiple technologies, real-time analytics, machine learning, commodity sensors, and embedded systems. That just basically describes everything 5G is ever going to want to have in it, from big data to connectivity. So traditional fields of embedded systems, wireless sensor networks, control systems, automation, including home and building automation, or could it be car? Remember I was talking about the automobile industry. That's going to be, like, that's what I'm saying. Everything's going to have these SIMs in it in one shape or form or another, but stay with me. And others all contribute to enabling the Internet of Things, because they're supposed to be able to talk to each other, and that's going to be part of why they need to all have this communication, so that it doesn't have to have a powerful signal, because it's only got to go a short distance to talk to at least something else that can relay a message to the next thing, that can tell the next thing to tell the next thing. It's like that game where you used to play, where you used to all stand in line, and the first person get the message, like, and then they tell the next person, and they tell the next person, and then you see what it say at the end of the line, and it was never right. But at least it's supposed to be right when 5G does it, okay? Subscribe. So, and others all contribute to enabling the Internet of Things. In the consumer market, IoT technology is most synonymous with products pertaining to the concept of the smart home, including devices and appliances such as lighting fixtures, thermostats, home securities, and cameras, and other home appliances like your refrigerator, stove, toaster, blender, heated sheets, fireplace. You know, they're going to have everything is going to be simmed up. So you see where I'm going with this. That support one or more common ecosystems and can be controlled via devices. Here we go with the control, what it say, companion setup, right? Devices associated with that ecosystem, such as smartphones and smart speakers. Internet of Things can also be used in healthcare systems. So now we're looking at you know, these robots that's going to be doing surgery, you know, and regular doctor visits that's going to be revolutionized, all kinds of stuff. Where does it end? It doesn't end. There's only one thing holding it up. There's only one thing holding it up, and that's security. So if we go here, right, global eSIM market. So this is not even considering the regular SIM. This is saying the global eSIM market is projected to garner a valuation of $913 million, so almost $1 billion by 2024. Just the eSIM market alone. That's just selling the damn chips. That's not even talking about what they're going into. So they're going to be making $1 billion a year by 2024. And we were looking at ChargePoint having a 1 point something billion dollar evaluation for all the electric cars they're going to be charging. They're just making SIMs. eSIMs at that, not even just the regular SIMs. All right. And this ain't the company, this is just the market as a whole. So registering a 28% compound annual growth rate during the forecasted period 2019 through 2024, which we're in now. Right? So the eSIM is a digital SIM embedded in mobile. Basically, you already know what that is. We're going to skip that. So let's get down to, we read this part, we learned when we did the Evolve high level overview, right? What I want to, where is it at here? Enterprise increasing mobility. Also projected hardware chip based 2025. All right, here's what I wanted to show you. Despite the lucrative growth opportunities, factors such as the lack of technical expertise and network security are estimated to restrict the eSIM market growth. So basically, because it's so new, you don't have a lot of people that's like, remember we talked about craft and skill and art. We don't have a lot of artists that know how to use this paintbrush or know how to fix it, or network security know how to protect it, which means that's got to catch up to the new technology. So you got to have on one side 5G growing, and then those other security sites, data security companies that are blowing up, they're going to be developing stuff for this. So when the more secure the network, first is going to be put into a whole bunch of stuff that don't really matter. You know what I mean? Like what you're going to call toys and like stuff like that. And, then they'll gradually come into your home. Then they'll gradually get into more personal stuff in your home and financial things and stuff like that, right? As the security net of the network grows, as 5G grows, this is going to explode. EVol is going to explode. And security threats in wireless communication are rising continually. So that's what's basically holding us back right now from just being, in everything from your bag of tater tots to the soccer ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, SIMs are going to be in everything. It's going to tell you how many times you kicked the ball, how far you kicked it. It's going to report it back to Facebook. Your friends are going to be on there liking your last goal you scored, and you ain't even have to do nothing, right? It's going to have a little camera in there rolling around with the ball. It's going to show the goalie like, and it's, all right, so look, right? That's where we're at with this. So check that out. EVol is going to be huge. Right now, it's at 286. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this detail today. If you liked the little different spin on it, a little bit more of a informational session there in the beginning, let me know. I'm trying to make sure I deliver you guys the best content I can get you, so you can have the best growth and support for your family and community. So let me know how much you appreciate that detail, and if there's something else you'd like for me to go and look into, just be sure to ask your questions in the comments below. And if it's something I'm not familiar with, I'll definitely go study it, because that'll help me learn too. You know what I mean? I like that stuff. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy that mental growth. So scalping, day trading, swing trading, investing, use your tools, research. Our goal for March, everybody, is to not enter a stock unless you have a strategy. Okay, if you with me on that, type in strategy in the comments below. Just put the strategy in there. All right, and make sure you subscribe. I appreciate you all. Hit the like button, share, comment. Pasha Pyro, big boy P.E.P for my peeps. Thank you for tuning. The replay.